Good morning and welcome to the Three Ps in a Pod podcast.
Blessed to be here.
Yeah, blessed to be here. It's pretty exciting to be here again with you on this wonderful Monday morning. A lot of great things going on around New Beginning Baptist Church. We got the building. It's actually going up now. We should literally just walk outside, from the studio here. Take everybody outside and let them see all the.
Next week we can do the podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Do the podcast from the slab.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Outside. We're pretty excited about what's going on here with that. And then this Sunday we have Ricky Atkinson and Compassion sing some great songs. We actually, if you go on YouTube, you can pull up one of their concerts they did down at Clark's Chapel in Thomaston, Georgia. And man, those things, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah.
It's the first time we've done this in a long time. Sunday night, 6 p.m. right here at the church. And they have, I said this yesterday, they've been a blessing to Coweta County, not just, they've been around here like Calvary, sang there for years. They've sang all over this county, all over Georgia, camp meetings all over. Were they at Arise this year? I can't remember if they were at Arise.
No, they weren't. But man, I looked them up this week on Apple Music. I looked at one of their albums, and it's funny because sometimes people drop albums and people are like, oh, this is a good song, this is a good song. But I'm going through the album, I'm like, every single one of these songs, you don't realize how many incredible songs that they sang. Every one of their songs just a hit, man.
Yeah.
So come and be with us.
Absolutely.
Come on out. New Beginning Baptist Church, we got a bunch of these coffee cups. You can buy one online, church merch. Go on our website, go to the Give app and get one for $5. It's the perfect size. I got ice in my mouth, man. It's the perfect size. Watch, my tongue will freeze in here. But it's a perfect size for a cup of coffee. I do 8 ounces on my coffee. I don't know how much y'all do, but by the time I put my 4 ounces of creamer in it, French vanilla, then and my 6 tablespoons of sugar, and I'm drinking my milkshake. It is perfect on there.
Like a little coffee with your ice cream?
Well, yeah, I'm actually drinking iced coffee this morning. People, look at this. I got coffee in here. We're drinking coffee up here with y'all. So, try to get our morning started. So, a lot of good things going on. Building program, homecoming coming up in about a month. Jason Holly will be here. Preachers Fellowship on the 21st of September at 10 a.m. here at the church. On Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, having a special ladies session with Tiffany Holly, and that's going to be a blessing for the ladies. A lot of great things always going around here. Sometimes we stay so busy, you feel like, whoa, wow, it's a little bit busy, but it always works out great. Yeah. And so I'm thankful the Lord gives us all these opportunities. Right. Who's dad joking today?
I think we're
Should we do one at a time? How many do you have?
I got 2.
You got 2? How many you got? You got 2? I'm going to start off.
All right, go ahead.
I'll do one, and then you can do one, you can do one.
All right. Sounds good.
And we'll just make a circle on it. Yeah. I only know 25 letters of the alphabet. I don't know why.
Why?
Let me do another.
All right.
I want to do 2. I want to do 2 down. Why did the Scarecrow win an award?
Why?
He was outstanding in his field.
That's the best one.
Oh my goodness.
That's the best one so far.
You want me to do my last one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, preacher.
I was addicted to the hokey pokey, but I turned myself around. Is that amazing?
That's so corny I could pick your ears.
Who's going next?
It's all you, Dustin. Take it over, man.
Is it all you, Dustin?
Yeah, I got you. So did y'all know that I used to have a job at a calendar factory?
No.
I got fired because I took a couple days off.
That's not bad either.
How about this one? Did y'all hear about the restaurant on the moon?
No.
Great food, no atmosphere.
That's insane.
We spent more time finding these than we studied our Bible. This week.
Well, I got at least do one. All right.
Straight face, everybody. Straight face on this.
Straight face.
Straight face.
All right. How did the moon cut its hair. Eclipse it.
That's what we need to do from here on out. Try not to laugh. See if you can not laugh.
Eclipse it. Yeah. You see,
Eclipse it.
Yeah, we should do that.
I'll just stick to one.
You gonna stick to
I'll just
one
stick
this
to one.
morning?
Yeah, I'll just stick to one.
Wow. I enjoy doing these things. I love doing them. We didn't do them at Father's Day this year.
Oh man,
But you know, we
I forgot that
usually
did that.
do
Yeah.
them on Father's Day.
We need to redo that next year.
Yeah.
That's a highlight.
And do them also. Well, our Bible study today is going to center around the Kohathites, or in particular, we're going to talk a little about Korah today, because I think Korah affects probably a lot more people than we realize. The Kohaths were the ones that carried the Ark of the Tabernacle. So when everybody got to move it, boom, let's get them together, move it. Just some quick facts. We don't usually jump in and read chapters of the Bible. You know, it's not like a pre-church. If you want to hear that, come here on Sunday morning. And you'll get a lot of that here on Sunday morning. But if you were Kohath, who was in the Levitical tribes, or one of the Levites, if you were Kohath, you had two brothers, Gershom and Merari, that's how I pronounce their names. Then you would have been responsible for moving the tabernacle. The problem with Kohath, is that he didn't get to put his items that he was moving on a wagon. It had to be carried by hand.
Yeah.
So they would take, like Gershom would be like, give me my wagon. I got several oxen and I got a few wagons. Let's put it on. And then, like Merari would have been like, here, get my wagons loaded, get everything up. And they'd jump up on the wagons and they'd head down the road being pulled by oxen, 2 oxen to each wagon. One of the boys had 4 wagons. The other one had 2 wagons. And they'd go down the road. The problem with Kohath is him and his children, they would have to run staves through the Ark of the Covenant. I'm just going to give, just a general size here. 3 feet wide, 4 feet long. All right, wasn't huge. That's not exact dimensions.
Right.
I'm just giving you a general size. It would have been wrapped up. It was overlaid with gold on the inside, the outside, the mercy seat, golden mercy seat. Weighed probably around 400 pounds. They'd run the staves through it, and the Bible doesn't tell us if it was 2 or 4, but you would assume, with a short width, it could have been 2 people, one on the front, one on the back. Nevertheless, we always pictured as 4 people, one on each end of the staves and carrying it. And I researched that a little bit, and over their lifetime of the ark being moved, it literally moved at about 600 miles by foot. That's a conservative figure. Some people say even all the way up to 1,000 miles.
Wow.
That's like,
a lot.
It's like, and those were not roads.
No.
They're just carrying it around in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Like just rocks, briars, thistles, mountains.
Yeah.
At one time they said that one of the longest times was like 3 days. So
That's a long way.
yeah. So, but that was their burden. God gave them that burden. There's a lot of spiritual significance there. The reason He made it carry. There needs to be, if you're carrying or have the presence of God in your life, His glory, or you're close to God, there's going to have to be some kind of sacrifice attached to it. Our faith's not cheap,
Right.
So we get that while they're carrying it. But here's the problem, what we're trying to build up to here. Kohath's grandson comes along, his name's Korah, and Korah gets tired of carrying it. So Korah, he goes to Moses and he was like, you can't tell us what to do anymore. Stop you. We'll tell you what to do. And he had about 250 other people that joined with him. And this is me personally, and I'll give you some Bible verses, but me personally, I think he didn't want to carry it anymore. The load's heavy. It's dirty. There's not much glory in it as far as recognition from people.
Right.
You read the Bible, and you'll never find one time in the Bible when they were carrying it where they actually got recognized. Like they had the Kohath Day. There's no, it was a tough job.
Yeah.
It was one of the more physical jobs, one of the more tougher jobs. They weren't out singing. They weren't watching shepherds. They weren't sacrificing animals. They weren't doing any of that. So he goes to Moses and he's like, I want the priest job. Tired of doing this. Tired of wearing these normal clothes and these sandals and all. I want to be the priest, you know. And Moses is like, well, hey, if you want to be the priest, you know, get you some censers and put some incense in it. Come up here and we'll let God choose who's going to be the priest, which was a horrible decision on his part because they did that. And then the earth opened up and swallowed Korah and fire fell down and burned the other 250 men up. It was a horrible decision. So, yeah, God chose who he wanted to.
Yeah.
But he had got so tired of carrying the burden. This is my interpretation. He had got so tired of this. He had saw his grandfather carry it. He had saw his dad carry it. And now he's carrying it. And now his children are carrying it. And he just gets tired of carrying the burden. And in the context, the burden is not, this is the part where it really hits home. The burden is not, I'm going through a trial. The burden's not, you know, my family member's in the hospital. The burden's not, I don't have any money in the bank. Can I get an amen? That's a burden.
Right.
I mean, we're broke and the power bill's coming. You know,
Yeah.
the burden's not that the engine blew up in my car. That's not the burden. No, the burden he's talking about is carrying the ark. It's doing the work that God's called him to do.
Right. Wow.
Think about that. The thing that God called him to do, that has now become burdensome to him. So the thing that he may at one time have been thankful for, now he's looking at it and he no longer sees it as a privilege to serve God,
There you go.
an honor to serve God, but now he sees it as burdensome, and he's literally wanting a way out of serving God. Now he don't want to quit because he wants the priesthood, but he's no longer willing or wanting to do the job that God's give him to do.
Right.
He don't see the importance in it anymore. You know, he don't see the blessing in it. And when Moses spoke to him, he said, Is it a small thing to you? Like you're not thankful that God separated you from out of these 3 million people and literally brought you into this position he called you into to allow you to carry this? Is that a little thing to you? You know, like you don't see like the blessing in serving God anymore? And so with that background given in the story about Korah, you know, here's my question to you guys, and I'll let you jump in there. You know, like, when does a God-given call, gift, privilege, or honor that God's give you to serve him, when does that stop being a privilege or an honor for you and start being a burden to you?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is just too much for me. I got to get my Sunday school class up. It's just too big of a burden, you know. Like at one time it was a privilege, or I don't want to pastor anymore. You know, it's just too big of a burden. You know, like it was a privilege, but I just don't want to do it no more. Or, you know, I'm giving the door greeting job up. It's just too big of a burden for me now. You know, it's just too tough for me. When does something that used to be a privilege, at one time was a privilege and an honor that God, you know, gifted you, enabled you, called you to do it, when does that become a burden? Why does that become a burden?
I think part of that is kind of like we talk about Corey here, is like there was no recognition in what he was doing. So sometimes people don't see the things that you do, and nobody's ever like, hey, good job, Pastor. Thank you for, you know, with this building project you have going on right now. You know what I'm saying? People don't say that. And what'll happen is you'll get in your mind and you'll go like, well, maybe what I'm doing is not really that important. Like maybe like I'm not really doing anything. So now you're carrying this weight and you're stressed out about this ministry that you're a part of, because sometimes ministry can be burdensome. Like you're having to do so much, but then when you're doing so much and you're thinking at the same time, I'm doing the ministry, but it's not really that important. There's no impact that's, you know, coming about from me doing this. It'll just put you in like this slump where you're like, there's no point in me even being here. I must be in the wrong place. Yeah. You know, and then you'll start seeking for something else and pulling yourself out of where God actually wants you to be in.
Well, let's talk about that, Dustin. He just said that sometimes we lose that joy because you got a job and you don't get recognized that. Right. And remember, we talked about there's 3 million Jews. They're kind of in the center of them, and they would have to wear ordinary clothes. They were not wearing the clothes of the priesthood, the linen, like almost like a 3-piece suit, linen. And the reason for that is because they're down doing work. They're near the dirt. Mm-hmm. So they just kind of blend in with everybody, even though they're doing this unbelievable task. They're carrying the ark of God. You know, like this is where this is the only way that God can meet with his people is what they're carrying. But in the middle of that, like no recognition.
No recognition.
How does that affect people? I mean, how do you get over that?
Well, one thing I would say to add to that is, you know, who are we doing it for? We get our eyes on, we start doing it for people. We start looking at, I'm doing it for the pastor. I'm doing it for Moses. I'm doing it for these people, but I'm not ever getting any recognition. And that's taking my joy away because I take my eyes off the importance of who I'm doing this for. Mm-hmm. God is the one who appointed me to. Can I put it like this? Can I put it in this context? You're a nursery worker at your church. And here you are changing diapers, feeding kids, taking care of a bunch of whining babies while their parents are in there listening to the greatest sermon they ever heard, and the preacher's standing up there, and he's up there wearing a 3-piece tuxedo, and these people are standing up here on stage, and they're getting to sing, and they get done singing, they just got these beautiful voices, and everybody's sitting here just clapping the house down and cheering for them. And then I'll look at the offering takers, they go up there in their suits, and they all look so nice, and they're in there having this great service, and here I am carrying this load back here where nobody can see me, nobody can even appreciate me. And I'm sitting here watching the service from a television because I can't even be in the service. That's not right. This ain't fair. I done started comparing myself with other people. I done started getting my mind off of who I'm doing this for and the importance of it, and it is completely taking my joy. This ain't right, God. Why would you put me in this spot?
I think we should adopt a new policy in the nursery. And every time they change a diaper, I think everybody in the nursery, all the workers should stop and just be like, woo! And give an applause. All the kids and everything, it stops. There's like a certain bell goes off for music, and that's time for everybody to applaud, you know, when they do that. Yeah. So let's take it a little bit deeper in both of your thoughts here. You know, the old saying was to have joy in serving the Lord was, first of all, you do it for Jesus. Mm-hmm. Secondly, you do it for others. And then lastly, you do it for yourself. So in maintaining the joy of your position or your burden, it's like what Dustin said. First of all, you got to realize I'm doing this for Jesus, for the Lord. Mm. Right? Mm-hmm. And then secondly, you're going to say, I'm doing this for other people right in there. And then the third part of it is I gotta, you know, I'm doing it for myself in that this is my calling or my gift or what God's put in my life, but I put myself last in it. So in other words, I'm doing this for selfish motives and reasons, which is what I think we're trying to say here, is that, you know, if I'm doing it for selfish motives, then I'm expecting some kind of reward at the end of it. Right. You know, like I need to be recognized, you know, nobody knows. And those thoughts, man, I think, you know, Satan's like a roaring lion. He tries to isolate people. You know, he tries to kind of herd you off by yourself. And a lot of times when you're over here working by yourself, that's when he'll get on your shoulder, you know. That's when he'll start talking in your ear, you know, telling you like, when you've cleaned up after people, you know, for 100 times, you know, they just keep making the same mess. You keep picking it up, cleaning it up 100 times. At some point you start thinking, you know, this little voice is like, can't they clean up after themselves? You know, like, why am I cleaning up after these people? You know,
why me?
You know, or why am I cutting this grass? There's other men in this church. They're strong backs. They can get out here and help clean. You know, or why can't all these other people work in a nursery? Right. You know, with that. So that recognition, the lack of recognition, it can play on you though. You do like people to see what you're doing, because it does make you feel important. Is every position in the church important? Why would something like the nursery even be important?
So the parents can be in the service.
Yeah.
They wouldn't. Yeah. There was no nursery. They'd be like, we can't come. We got to have a nursery.
Yeah, it's for Aiden. He gets so crazy sometimes. Either I put him in a nursery, I'm gonna go put him in the parking lot somewhere.
Yeah. Look, the nursery workers, and maybe we should have a day where we recognize. Maybe every church should have something where they recognize their nursery workers. give them a Chick-fil-A gift card or rent some restaurant out. Like, here, we're going to go feed you guys. We appreciate all that you do for us.
Right.
Because I think that would be biblical.
Yeah.
I think that would be right for us to edify and encourage people to when they're doing their job.
Amen.
But it allows parents to be in the service. What's the good thing about Cheyenne being able to be in the service?
She sings.
She sings.
Yeah.
She sings.
Yeah, she's able to do what God's called her to do because they're doing what God called them to do.
Because somebody's over here doing what they're called to do.
Yeah.
Right. So if she can't be, if she has to be in the nursery, then she can't be up on the stage singing.
Right.
So it's like a really important position in the church.
Everybody's got a place. Everybody's got a job.
So if we know that, if we know not getting some kind of recognition from time to time, or somebody show us appreciation, then that's the body of Christ, that's the church. How do we adjust to that? What do we do to try to counteract what Satan's doing? Because Satan's constantly hitting them with negative stuff, telling them they're not important, telling them, like this is, there's no benefit. He's constantly trying to get them to quit. How do we, as wise servants of God, how do we alleviate that? How do we, counteract what he's doing?
I think like what you just said a little bit ago, which is like, edify, like let them, like people want to be told that they're doing a good job, like the words of affirmation, right? So it's like making sure that we're as a church body, if like I see Dustin being like the greatest door greeter in the world, I want him to know that, because you kind of, I think you said that on Sunday. It's like sometimes, the only thing people seem to notice is when you make a mistake. Like, oh, you didn't shake that person's hand.
Oh,
or,
wow.
Oh, you didn't do this right, or we had this one thing happen. But like we forget to tell them the 99 things that they did great, or the places where they went the extra mile. It's like letting them know that they're being seen. Because, like God does see it, and that's what I'm doing it for. Man,
right.
I am putting people before myself, so it is really nice every once in a while for those people to go, like, hey, you did a good job.
Right.
Like, and I could go on this, I'll be, tired from a whole week. My wife will look at me and go, man, you're doing great. And that'll just, where I was like tired and like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Now I'm like, I can go another day, just from that one word of encouragement.
Wow. So what I'm hearing from you is that we can counteract that by recognizing these people. How can we? What's the best way to recognize them? What do you think?
I'd say simply tell them thank you. I appreciate what you're doing.
So the parent picks up a child in the nursery. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Somebody comes in, door greet, and they're blessing, got a big smile on their face. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Sunday school teacher finishes the lesson. Thank you. That really meant a lot to me.
Right.
On there. Recognizing them, being part of that. I did say that in a message, that a lot of times people become invisible or feel like they may be invisible because they never get recognized, for what they're doing.
Right.
And then when they become visible is when they make a mistake.
Yeah.
And we could give some examples of that. If we came to the church, if everyone pulled up and the grass was knee high, then what?
It'd be a problem.
Oh my goodness.
What are we doing?
Where's the grass cutters? What's going on around here? What's going on in the church? Weeds are all in the parking lot, or you come to the church and there's no nursery workers. Like, what's going on in the nursery?
Right.
Or,
right.
Or there's a mistake made, or the door greeters, are outside and, they get in a confrontation with a
Going off the rails here.
That's a joke. Then if there's any little mistake, like we're about to sing our song and the song comes on and the music's wrong, or oh my goodness, like what's going on here, and then they get a lot of recognition. So,
Wow.
right. So we need to recognize them in the positive things that they're doing. Right. What do we need to do when they make a mistake?
We need to have compassion and mercy on them, and I think we need to encourage them even more then. So you're doing a good job. You did 100 things right, and you did one thing wrong. Don't let the devil get in your mind and tell you ain't doing a good job.
What if they just made a mistake and we just didn't say anything? We just shut up about it.
Well, I would probably still say so. I mean, but I think it's on. I think it's on how.
I'm gonna keep my mouth.
I think it's all in how you approach people. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, you can correct, but in a like what he said, with compassion in a good way. That, you know, for example, running the smoothie shop now, I work with teenagers, and I learned that, like, hey, how like I get on to somebody for not doing something appropriately. You know, like, it changed my mind. I can't talk to them as if they're, 30 years old. Like, hey, dummy, you put the bananas in the wrong place, but say, hey, you're doing a really good job, but make sure we use this blender when we're doing this so we can do everything appropriately.
Yeah.
You know, so that way they're like, oh, well, I'm doing a good job. I just need to correct some things.
Yeah.
You know, it's all in the way that you handle it.
And now, and we're speaking from a position of leadership.
Yeah.
You know, like this will be leadership speaking to someone that has, that you're trying to encourage them and lead them in the right way. But I think as a church body, if we're in the church and, the music comes on and it hits a bad note, don't go negative.
Oh, yeah.
Don't go to that person and start complaining. Don't get up out of your pew and walk to the back and tell the person that's running the audio, correct them.
Start rolling your eyes.
Just keep your silence.
Yeah, what they call that in the military, chain of command. Like, if somebody makes a mistake, there's people that can talk to them about it. They don't need anybody just to go.
Don't be correcting everybody. Yeah. Don't become that person, because that becomes habitual.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you set yourself up as this judge or this person that's the overseer of everything. No.
That becomes your job.
Yeah, you trust the person that's doing the job. They know how to do it right, and they make some mistakes along the way, or circumstances come up sometimes where they can't do things. So you just give them a little bit of help there, and we're just talking about just
that's a really
ordinary mistakes in there. But
that's really good.
I think recognition does need to become a big part of it. What about this? What Korah wanted to do, he didn't want to quit serving God. I don't know if I'm familiar all with the story, but here's what Korah does. He didn't really want to do his job anymore, carrying the ark. He wanted to become the priest because he thought that would be easier.
Oh, yeah.
So what about this? What about people wanting to serve God on their terms, not on God's terms? Let me clarify that a little bit more. God called him to carry the ark. Mm-hmm. God didn't call him to be a priest. Right. So here's what Korah does. Korah says, I'm a Levite. I appreciate you, want me to be one of the burden bearers when it comes to the ark. Mm-hmm. But I tell you what, I'm going to surrender myself to you, but not in that area. Mm-hmm. I'm going to surrender myself, and I'm going to be a priest. So in other words, I'll serve God, but the only way I'm going to serve him is on my terms. What about that? And I can jump in there and lead you a little bit farther down there, but you know what? I give you I'm going to serve God on my terms. I'm going to come when I want to. I'm going to do it the way I want to. I'm not going to be part of the team. I'm not going to be part of what's going on. I'm going to do it the way I want to. I'm going to come when I want to, leave when I want to, and I'm just going to serve God on my terms.
It's almost as if you think you know more than God.
Right.
Like if God puts you in that position, there's a reason God put you in that position and didn't put you in this other position. You know what I'm saying? Like God knows what you can and can't handle. He wants to be the priest, but God didn't put him there for a reason.
Right. I just want to read this verse here about this because it's
no way.
Right along with this. Is that be okay if I read a Bible verse?
No,
I guess.
We're at the podcast. We're at podcast. We don't have church.
No,
Sunday.
this is man joke day.
As long as it's KJV.
Okay. Let me skip. I've got to get out of ESV here and go to KJV, the real Word of God here. Isaiah 55:8-9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. I would say that, what if God called you to do something, but never in your lifetime on this earth gave you a reason for why he called you to do that? Why would God, even if he didn't tell you, this is the importance of you being here? Can we just realize how important it is for what God has called us to do, like we've already been talking about, and realize that it's what is on the line here? The souls of men, like the eternity of men's souls. The things that God calls you to do are highly important.
I'm convicted already about not recognizing some of the people that do a lot of the work.
You just had to call them right after this podcast.
We're going to change the way we do things with that, but at church. I think we're going to have to make sure that we recognize people in the work they're doing to try to prevent Satan from getting a hold to their mind. But go along with Dustin, what he just said, God gives everybody a specific job, and he does it, for purposes. He has purposes in that. Because if everybody was a nursery worker, then it'd be very difficult to have church.
Yeah.
If we didn't have any singers, we'd have a preacher, So it works, it creates unity and it creates purpose with the church. And if God has called you to do something, at times it's going to seem hard. Right? So here's Korah. I'm tired of carrying the burden. I mean, he didn't verbalize that and say those words exactly. But here's what he said was, because Moses is the one that handed out the oxen and handed out the wagons, or so like I said, mules and wagons. He's the one that handed it out, right? So here's Korah. He's blaming it on Moses. Like, you can't tell everybody what to do. Who told you? I make my own mind up. But God told Moses, so Moses told the people on that. So Korah really didn't like the way Moses was handing out positions, and so he decides, well, I want to be the priest. Like, this is too hard, and it had to be a hard job carrying that 600 miles, 1,000 miles. 3-day journeys, just carrying that. It had to be a difficult job. But here's what he thought is the priest's job will be easier. So I want their job.
Right.
And so, I want to go do their job because it'll be a lot less work on me to do their job. The grass is always greener on the other side.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a horrible situation to be in where you're looking on the other side of the fence thinking the grass. The old saying, grass always greener on the other side because underneath the grass is the septic tank. You ever heard that story? Have y'all heard that story?
I haven't heard that.
That's old school stuff there. That's 80s preaching there. Because the grass grows over the septic tank.
Because the septic tank.
But here's my question then, all right? Here's my question. Are some jobs easier than others at church or in the ministry?
Yeah.
Or do all jobs have difficulties associated with them?
Yeah, they all have different difficulties. But I will say that there are certain, I would say just from an outside perspective, there are certain jobs that overall do have a higher weight to them than maybe certain, every one of them has their own difficulty in a different way. I couldn't do the nursery because 30 kids screaming at me, I would probably just, I'd probably give up the faith. But but I can handle taking 30 teenagers to youth camp. It's just different types of difficulties that a difficulty that may be difficult for Dustin. His calling might be a difficulty that I can't handle in my calling.
Yeah.
Everything's just a little bit different.
So things will be physical. They're physical and mentally can be different or more challenging.
Absolutely.
This could be more physically challenged. The plumbers out there doing that. They're digging ditches and all right. So it's physically more challenging. Whereas the person in here reading the plans may be mentally more challenging on that.
I thought one time in my life when I was young, I said, you know what? I want to learn how to play the guitar. I want to learn how to play an electric guitar. I want to get good at it. And I seen other people play, and I thought, man, that's great. They're so great at playing the guitar. I'd love to be able to do that. But then when I got to actually doing that, when I realized what went into it, started watching videos, started reading stuff, I'm like, I don't know if I like this anymore. I don't know if I want to play the guitar. This ain't no fun. All I seen was somebody just playing. It sounds so
you
beautiful.
saw was Metallica on there.
All I seen was AC/DC, Metallica. Hey.
He was a teenager.
Yeah, hey.
My goodness.
But hey, I would say the devil is doing a good. He's a mastermind at painting a good picture. Like the example you just used, the grass is greener because the septic tank is underneath.
Yeah.
You get to looking at somebody else and comparing yourself with somebody else, losing focus of how important the simple thing. Sometimes I think as humans we need to continue to do what we're doing, continue to do your job. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the hardest part is just continuing to do your job. It's not always going to be a next level of elevation. We're going to grow as Christians, but sometimes you just have to continue to do your job. But Satan paints a picture and says, but look at their job. Well, their job's easy. What they're doing is actually fun. The way you're serving the Lord is boring. You're back here, you're eating their dust, and you're having to carry this big old box around. You're carrying the Ark of the Covenant around. Nobody ever sees you. Your clothes are dirty. He paints such a wonderful picture of their lives and their ministry. They're just having fun. But if you was,
Nobody cares.
I mean, the devil been doing that since Genesis. You know, like,
Yeah.
oh, God's holding something back from
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he ain't told you the whole story. There's
Yeah.
more. You get more out of this.
oh yeah,
Nobody cares about you. You just don't mean nothing. You know, you like you don't see any, like they didn't see any growth kind of response. Like it got better. It was just the same mundane, boring thing, and it just get wore out with the boring part of it. You know, did it. I want to make this point because we are trying to help people. Our podcast is here to help people.
Yes.
It's to talk about the Bible, help people learn more about the Bible, but it's essentially to help people. You know, and I would say this to everybody that is tuning in. Here's the podcast: is that I don't care which job you have in the ministry, be faithful to it.
Amen.
God sees it. God keeps score.
Right.
God
And
sees it. Amen.
And if you're sowing into that position, if you don't faint,
Right.
if you don't get weary in well doing, there's a reaping day coming for you.
Amen.
All right? There will be a time of blessing coming in your life.
Right.
And the road may be long and it may seem hard, but you stay faithful to it because, you know, a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches.
Amen.
People
Yes, sir.
will look back on you
Right.
and they'll look at you and they'll remember your good name that you created. And look, that's more than leaving a fortune behind. You know, yeah, I remember old brother Billy Davison singing out there at the church and him having to help people get him up on the platform. Or I remember Bobby Odom saying, if I'm breathing, I'm here, preacher. You know, and us bringing him in
sir.
and him
That's the
being
right
wore
attitude.
out, you know, getting to church. See, we talk about them all the time now.
Right.
Why? Because they were faithful.
Yes, sir.
Your position is important
Amen.
to this generation and to the generations to come. And so stay with your position on that. And then here's the other thing I would say about it. Do not let the devil get inside of your mind about exactly what we're talking about right now. Some jobs are harder physically, others are harder mentally. All right. So he wanted the priest job, remember?
Yep.
I want to be the priest. That's easier. All
Yep.
right. Do you know there's not one recorded story in the Bible where anybody was ever negative against the Kohath?
He said this was awesome.
Nobody. There was never one time in the Bible
Yeah.
where somebody said, "You Kohaths, you're not doing your job," or "I hate Kohaths," or they're the Samaritans, like you're dogs. Nobody ever said that. Nobody ever challenged them. Nobody ever argued with them. Nobody ever attacked them. But yet he wants to take the priest's job, Aaron's job. All right. There are 10 different uprisings against Moses and Aaron. And when I say uprisings, some of them were this way: let's stone them.
Yeah, let's kill them.
Let's kill them.
We're going to kill you.
Yeah, we want to take them out. As a matter of fact, in the same chapter, when the fire came down from heaven, when God burned them up, and when God made the earth swallow Korah up and his family and everything that he owned, at the end of that, those people said, Moses did this. They're killing all the gods. They rose up against Moses and Aaron and blamed every bit of it. Moses didn't do it. God did it.
Right.
All right? But 10 different times in the Bible. And I still haven't looked this up, but it got so hard on Moses, so weighty on Moses, that at times Moses would want it. He'd ask God to do what to him?
Take me on now, Lord.
Just get me out of
Take
here,
me
man.
on.
Like, I'm ready to die. Take me to glory right now and I'll be happy. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I can't take this anymore. I mean, I should have looked that up. It'd be worth looking at. But there were multiple times where Moses just said, I can't take it anymore. Remember one time they gave him 70 helpers. They're constantly trying to lift this load off of Moses, and shift the responsibility because it was so difficult on him. It only looked easier from the outside.
Right.
Can you imagine if he'd ever got the position? It's like, let's kill Korah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's stone him. And then Korah's like, oh no, I don't want this job
I
anymore.
should have just carried the ark.
Yeah. Look, every job, there's a cost associated with it. And again, I want to say this. The sacrifice is what makes our faith so real. Y'all are in Bible college, you're studying about martyrs and how people just would not, they would not bend. They would not bow. and they were willing to give their lives for the gospel. And that blood, the blood of the martyrs has paved the way of the church.
Yeah.
What do you mean by it? It's the cost they pay. Like it's us being Christians and being faithful and paying the cost, making the sacrifice, carrying the burden that makes our faith so valuable. So I don't care what you're doing with church work, whether it's up there preaching, whether it's teaching that Sunday school lesson, whether it's singing a special, whether it's doing the youth, whether it's in the nursery, cutting the grass. I don't care what part of it. There are difficulties associated with everything you do in this life.
Right.
And just accept it, man. Like put it on your shoulder and carry the burden. Because we have to enjoy the calling or the position God's give us to serve Him, and it's a privilege and an honor.
Amen.
Then we have to learn to appreciate that. If we're going to have joy, we have to learn to appreciate that God is allowing us to do this in our lives. So,
Amen.
I hope that helps somebody.
It helped
I don't
me.
know. Y'all want to add anything to that? Close anything out?
No, I'm good. I was about to give up, but after this podcast,
You-
I'm just gonna keep.
Hey.
I'm gonna be here Sunday now.
A preacher used to preach that message. I heard it years ago. It's heavy, but I'm happy.
Heavy,
Oh,
but I'm
that's
happy.
good.
And that's true.
That's
It can be heavy,
Right.
and you can be happy at the same time.
Yeah.
But you can't get your eyes on everybody else,
Yeah.
and you can't get weary in well doing. You got to understand how important it is. And
Yeah.
if you get your eyes in the right place, do it serving other people and do it serving Jesus, and put yourself last. You can have joy in serving God.
Amen.
You don't close us out with that about Annette.
Annette. Okay.
Yeah. Here we go.
What do you call a woman in the middle of a tennis court?
What?
A net.
That was my favorite one out of all of them.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, God bless you. If you're in the neighborhood, come by and see us at New Beginning Baptist
Come on.
Church on Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. Don't forget about Sunday night, 6 p.m. Ricky Atkinson and Compassion will be right here at the church. So God bless you.